Before we get started on the recipe, I wanted to share with you guys this really special gift that I received this week from a longtime family friend. This basket probably holds so many memories and has been passed down from some very special people to me to cherish for my life and pass down to my loved ones. Thank you so much for this gift. It really means a lot. Today, we're going to make Antipasto Relish together. Never made this. This is the first time with this recipe. I'm going to be using my favorite book of all time. It's the Complete Book of Home Preserving, put out by Ball. It has a lot of really good recipes, really good instructions. It's a really good book for beginners. This is the book that I began and learned to can out of. I have tons of sticky notes in it with all of my favorite recipes and the recipes that I want to try. I have pages in here of recipes that I found just so I can keep everything together. It's a really good book, and I am going to link it in the show notes. I have met all of my goals for my normal things that I keep a stock of in the pantry that we get out of the garden and I preserve and put in the pantry. I've met those goals, and so now I get to try some different things, some things that I haven't tried and some things that aren't really a must-have in our pantry shelves, a novelty, I guess maybe you would call it for us. And this relish has been on my list. I don't know if I'll like it. I'm sure I will love it. I don't know if the rest of my family will, but I'm going to give that a try and bring you guys along with me. You're probably going to see me reading a lot from this book since I've never made this recipe, and I'm probably going to read it at least 10 times. But as far as what we need for our ingredients, we are going to need 7 whole peppercorns and 4 bay leaves, 1 3/4 cup of white vinegar, a cup of lightly packed brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of salt, 4 cloves of garlic finely chopped, which I've already done here, 1 tablespoon of dried oregano. I have some of homegrown, home-dried oregano. 6 cups of coarsely chopped cord-peeled tomatoes. I went out to the garden and picked tomatoes. They were washing up. I will show y'all how to peel tomatoes by boiling and then peeling the skin here in just a bit. 3 bell peppers, 1 each, green, red, and yellow, seeded and chopped. I had 1 green bell pepper out there, I think. So I kind of guessed on some other sweet peppers. It was kind of like a terrible adult Easter egg hunt for me. I bit into a few to see if they were sweet or hot. When we were planting this spring, Brian planted that area and he forgot to put in the name tags for the plants. So we kind of are guessing. Most of the pepper plants we can tell what they are, but there's a few that we aren't sure of. So that was fun. But I think I have several sweet peppers over here, enough to make this recipe. We need 2 carrots, peeled and diced. I've already done that too. 1 stalk of diced celery. I did not have any celery, but I had dehydrated a bunch of our celery from this spring. I'm going to toss just a little bit of that. That looks like not very much celery, but it's actually a lot. It shrinks down by quite a bit. So I'm going to throw a tiny handful of that in there, and then I think it will reconstitute. It'll plump back up as we're boiling this in our stainless steel here in a minute. 1 large onion, coarsely chopped. That is it for our ingredients. While I'm dicing up these peppers, I want to go over with you guys how we're going to peel the tomatoes. I set my stainless steel pan pot, filled it up with some water, and what we're going to do is we're going to get that water boiling, and then we are going to dunk our tomatoes in, and it only takes probably maybe 30 seconds to get this the skins will start splitting. You'll see it. It's very noticeable. The skins will start splitting, and at that point we can pull the tomatoes out with a slotted spoon, put them into a bowl of ice water or just cold water. I'm just going to use cold water. Let them cool to where we can touch, and then the tomatoes are really easy to peel. I'm going to get these peppers cut up and then bring y'all back for what we're going to do with the tomatoes. To core the tomatoes, you can either use a knife and cut around and core the tomato out that way, or I picked this up at Atwood's last summer. I think it's a, I don't know if it's a strawberry core or actual tomato core, but it works amazingly. All you do is you push the button and you stick it in the core just like that, release the button and twist. Simple as that. Removes the core. Alright, my water is boiling. I'm going to place the tomato on a slotted spoon to drop it in. Okay, all in. I'm gonna let those set and boil. It already looks like some of them skin's cracking. Until the skin starts cracking, I'm gonna pull them out and put them in my cold water. Show y'all some of that skin splitting, if you can see it. Alright, now that the skin's splitting, I'm going to pop them over here in the cold water. Okay, I think these guys have cooled down enough for me to handle them. I'm going to peel the skins off and then get them chopped up to go in my stainless steel pan that I have right there waiting. I'm going to get busy with that. Alright. I don't know if you can tell how easy it is to peel these tomatoes. A good tip for peeling tomatoes to get them ready to work with is the riper they are, the better they'll peel. So let them ripen up if you pick them a little green before you try to boil them and peel them. Majority of the time when I'm doing tomatoes, I core them, put an X on the bottom, and freeze them before so I can have a whole bunch to work with when I'm ready. That way I have to process less things. That's what I usually do with my tomatoes. The skins will peel right off that way. You don't have to boil them. You pull them out of the freezer and they'll peel, slide right out of their skins when they're thawed. Alright, to my stainless steel saucepan, I am going to add all of my ingredients. So let's see, the 7 peppercorns and the 4 bay leaves. It says to wrap them in tie them up in a cheesecloth to keep them. You don't want them in all of your ingredients. You don't want them to be in your relish when you're finished. You want to be able to pull out whatever you have them in and throw them in the trash. You don't want them in there. I have these tea bags that I use for our tea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my bay leaves and my peppercorns, my 7 peppercorns in there. So you do the same with the cheesecloth. And then I'm going to twist this like this, and if it works, I'm going to fold it back in on itself and it'll stay closed. And I can just toss it in there. I think that'll work. Then we need 1 3/4 cup of white vinegar. Let's see. 1 3/4 cup. Lightly packed, 1 cup of lightly packed brown sugar. Where's my cup? There it is. good gravy. 1 cup. Don't really know what lightly packed means. Ooh, I'm making a mess. Whoop. We're gonna call that lightly packed, I think. Lightly packed brown sugar into the pot. Messy, messy, messy. 2 tablespoons of salt. 1, 2. Oh, 4 cloves of garlic chopped. Bam. 1 tablespoon of oregano. Well, it's crushed up real well. Um, 6 cups of peeled tomatoes. They're already in there. 3 bell peppers and onions are in here as well. Carrots. 1 stalk of celery. Let's guesstimate here how much we think was at one time an entire stalk of celery. Maybe there, that might be a little over. Ooh, it smells good. We have all of our ingredients in here. We're going to turn it on high heat. Get us a long spoon. Give it a stir. We're going to let it come up to a boil, and then we're going to turn the heat down and let it simmer for 1 hour. It'll thicken. And be more of a relish consistency. There's a tomato skin. Oh, that was not a tomato skin. That's actually... Oh, good grief. I just pulled out our spice bag thinking it was a tomato skin. Oh, I need some coffee. Anyways, this is gonna simmer for an hour. Meanwhile, I'm gonna make me some coffee. A little less than 30 minutes. When we have about 15 minutes left, I'm gonna go ahead and start heating my jars in my water bath canner. Set up my canning station. Alright, it is finished. I let it go for about 15 minutes longer than what the time was suggested, just so that it could get a little thicker. Felt like it was a little too runny. The recipe calls for 6 half-pint jars. I went ahead and got 7 just in case. The recipe calls to fill them to a 1/2 inch of headspace. And debubble. Wipe the rim. All of our jars are in the canner. So we're going to process these for 10 minutes. They're in the water bath covered by an inch of water. We're going to bring them up to a boil. We're going to set a timer for 10 minutes. After that 10 minutes is up, we're going to shut off our timer, shut off the heat, remove the lid, reset our timer for 5 minutes. Once that timer's up, we're going to pull our jars out of the canner. Hope we are finished. We are going to let these sit here for 24 hours. After that point, I'm going to remove the rings, wipe them down, and label them, store them on the pantry shelf. I can't wait to try them. I hope they're good. I hope I like them. Thank y'all for trying them with me. I hope y'all like them too. Good night. For me to can, trying some new things, and I'm going to be trying Antipasto Relish. You done? We are finished. Wrapped that up. Stupid. Okay. Y'all have a good evening. Bye, y'all. That was very awkward.